Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 119 of the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Joey. Joey, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Just finished a couple of one of the craziest games of the playoffs so far. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about here today. We're going to go into every series now that we're basically maybe near the tail end of some series, in the middle of some other ones, and some other series have already wrapped up here, coming off of an insane weekend of playoff basketball. So before we get into the series, let's get into Pirtle. Hopefully we can get into this quick enough. It is super late/early when we're recording this after these games, so hopefully we get the brain power to complete this in time. So I'll guess the first player for this. Let's see. I'll go with a player that was pretty important in the Rockets-Warriors game. I'll go with Brandon Pajemski.
Ooh, yes.
It's a tough first player to go with, and okay, gives us nothing. That's okay.
Okay. Right away, I'm throwing Mitchell Robinson out there.
Mitchell Robinson, someone who's in the East.
We're talking a big dude, complete opposite of Pajemski.
Okay.
Closer.
Not bad. All right, so it's someone that is 6'10 or 6'11, older guy, and wears a high jersey number.
High jersey number, yeah.
And an older guy.
Jared Allen?
Not in the
6'11.
No, he's not going to be. He won't be that old.
Oh wait, the age is not even close still.
That's not a bad guess.
No.
I was trying to think. I don't think it's
I'm just thinking of like numbers close to the height.
Yeah, because that would have been a perfect guess if it wasn't for that,
age,
and not in the Atlantic division.
Right division, or at least.
Let's see. Is this another player that's been hot during the playoffs? Miles Turner.
It could be, but he's not that old. He's not.
I think he's been in the league for 10 years.
Has he really? Yeah, I know. He might be. He's closer to 30. I would do that. We can.
All right, let's try that. Let's try Miles Turner. Oh, we are right on it. Number 34 or number 35 in the Central Division. So Bulls, Cavs, Pistons, or Pacers or
not Pacers.
Not Pacers. What team? Or the Bucks.
Bucks.
Giannis. Is this Giannis?
Dude, it's actually Giannis. It is actually Giannis. No way. No way. Stop.
Dude, this is like the first time we've gotten like a star on Pirtle.
We said our brain power wasn't going to be great, but they gave us a layup, and we still didn't get it.
Well, usually they don't give us like superstars. Like I'm never used to it.
We used all our brain power just to overthink that answer.
Exactly. Threw us for a loop right there. But let us know how long it took you guys to get Giannis there in Pirtle. But let's get into these series. We're going to cover each of these, in some in depth, some maybe a little less. But this first series that we'll get into has definitely been interesting. And the most important game of the series just wrapped up with the Golden State Warriors edging out the Houston Rockets 109-106 in Game 4 to take a commanding 3-1 lead in the first round. And man, oh man, this was an incredible back-and-forth game, really from the very start. The Warriors came out excellent to start. They came out with the energy. And really the story of the game is every time the Warriors went on a run, the Rockets had a response.
110%. I was talking to you about the pre-pod line. We were chatting a little bit about the games, and it's exactly my first reaction. Warriors come out of the game red hot. Rockets end the quarter on like a 12-2 run or something like that and bring it within 4. Warriors, next quarter, same thing. Start really well. Rockets end the half on a run to tie up the game. Third quarter, same exact thing. The fourth quarter was just going back and forth and really tight the whole way. But man, the Rockets showed a lot of composure with how young they were in an incredibly loud environment. And the Golden State Warriors home court. Like, that's a home court advantage. They played it really well. Mad props to
it was a very well played game. And I think something that the Rockets, that was even tough for the Rockets to start out the game, was that the Warriors started out very hot, but it was the players that you want shooting the ball. Draymond Green started out with 2 corner threes. You live with that. Jimmy Butler made a 3-pointer. You live with that. Like, I think we saw kind of the opposite of what happened in game number 3, which was a incredible win for the Warriors. That was a game where there was no Jimmy Butler after the tough injury that he suffered in game 2. And I thought, man, I don't think the Warriors can beat the Rockets without Jimmy Butler, with how physical they're playing Steph Curry and basically taking him out of the game offensively. But Steph Curry still found a way to beat the Rockets in game 3. So in this game, Ime Udoka and the Rockets defense was basically like, all right, let's just load up on Steph Curry no matter what. Don't let him get going. And a result of that, we get an incredible Brandon Podziemski game with 26 points, making a bunch of huge plays. And Jimmy Butler in the fourth quarter was the difference for the Warriors.
I got 2 guys that when watching like the TNT pregame, a little bit of the pregame show, 2 guys they mentioned that I 100% agree with, that they needed to, like, each play, or for the Warriors, Brandon Podziemski. They needed him to have a good game because he's hit 10 points in game 1, like plus 10 plus points, I think, in game 1 and 3, but 0 in game 2 where they lost. This game, crazy. For the Rockets, it was Fred VanVleet. Obviously, they need Jalen Green to get it going because the only game they won, he went crazy. But getting VanVleet to actually finally hitting some threes, he hit a lot of them today. He played fantastic, and he was a big reason why they had a chance to win this game on the road and to get that home court advantage back. But again, I think the downfall for at least the Rockets was Jalen Green. I think they just need that scoring.
I think they definitely needed him to do more, but I mean, honestly, the Rockets looked way better when he was off the floor. I mean, he was on the floor to start not just the first quarter when the Warriors were going crazy, but also to start the second half. The Warriors went on a crazy run. I'll go back and see. I want to say after the Rockets had a 7-point lead at halftime, Golden State came out and scored the first like 10 to 12 points in the third quarter, and that just can't happen. Like, you can look at what happened in the fourth quarter, and I do think that the Rockets made some mistakes. There was a play on an inbounds where Steph Curry pump faked and got an open 3 against Şengün. Mistake defensively by Şengün late in the shot clock. There was a late foul by Dylan Brooks on a Jimmy Butler 3, a Tari Eason foul on a Jimmy Butler catch on an inbound. There's stuff like that happened in the fourth quarter, but you can't be getting outscored 13-2 to start the game and then give up 13 straight points in the third quarter. You're digging yourself into holes, and to start each half, you're playing from behind.
That's exactly my point. Like, not just the scoring for Jalen Green, but like he's just getting played off the floor. They're pressing him on defense. At that 13-2 start, he turned the ball over like 3 times, and they got like five quick points off of it. Like,
yeah,
he just was not like he like you said, he was unplayable basically. And they looked way better when he was off the floor. Also, they're definitely going to need Amen Thompson. He shot way better today and offensively looked way better. But, man, they really need him to get going if they stand a chance. For, I wouldn't even say just this year, but, like, going forward, since they are a young team, especially now that they're down 3-1, the Warriors, they're probably going to close it out. Let's be real. That's at least what I'm still predicting, but
yeah, I would say so. I mean, this is just certainly a tough loss for Houston. Maybe even more tough to swallow than the game 3 loss, because you got a 31-point Şengün game. He played very well. Both him and Amen Thompson, like you just mentioned, their aggressiveness attacking the basket was ridiculous. I mean, some of the finishes that Thompson had, ridiculous.
We've been saying all year how he's literally the most athletic player in the league, or at least up in the top upper echelon of it. Just attack. Şengün, he was like, some of his post moves looking like Hakeem the Dream a little bit. Like, just attack the basket. It'll open up for some of those shooters. Maybe get Jalen Green like a 3 open up. Give him some space. Conserve his energy, because When he's just the only one in attack mode, that's where he starts turning the ball over, taking reckless shots where you're almost just wasting a possession.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get great performances from Thompson in the fourth quarter. Şengün was fantastic in spurts. I think the only thing that I would really have against Şengün, which is something that he'll have to fix going forward, is he's a very good post-up player, but he also misses a lot of shots that he should be making. Like, he's not as efficient or consistent as a guy as good as he is should be. I mean, he should not be going 12 for 28 from the field as a big guy, only taking 1 3. And it's not like he's a good 3-point shooter, but he goes 12 for 27 on 2-point shots, and all of them are in the painted area. So I think he needs to get better with his efficiency there. And of course, the free throw line, that's another area where the Rockets really struggled, missing 12 free throws. That's just.
What did I heard over on TNT when watching the broadcast? They were saying that over the last 2 games, they've missed like 20 plus free throws. Like, they lost by 3 today.
That's a difference that could be a difference in the season for the Rockets. Yeah. So going into game 4, the Rockets dead last in the playoffs in free throw percentage, shooting 64% at the line. And that's going to go down after this 19 for 31 performance, where this isn't even just a Şengün thing. Everyone missed a free throw for the most part. I mean, which you just can't have happen here in these situations, when you have a Golden State Warrior team that has Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry that do not miss free throws. They both do not miss free throws. Losing this game is obviously tough with Thompson playing great, Şengün playing great, and Fred VanVleet making 8 threes, 25 points. I mean, he had made, I think, 7 total threes in the first 3 games of the series. He makes 8 in this game alone and nearly had the game-tying 3 at the buzzer. It certainly looked good from the broadcast angle, but just came up short. And, man, the Rockets go down 3-1, and it's definitely tough because they've performed a lot better than even I expected coming into this series. One question I have for you, Joey, with this series, how do you think the physicality and the amount of the scuffles have had an impact negatively or positively for the Rockets or the Warriors?
First off, I absolutely love it. I'm big on, like Nick, defending and the physical aspect. Like, everyone just kind of bumping and shoving, and like even when the scuffles break out, I'm like, yeah, let's go, let's get physical, come on, let's do it, show some passion. I love it. That's how I take it, at least just growing up playing like that. It's just showing your energy and the passion. So I love it. I don't think there's really a downside. I think just today, like, you can look at it because I know Draymond was in very big foul trouble today for pretty much the whole game, and the flagrants and the techs. Like, it was very testy throughout the game. So I know it kind of handcuffed Kerr. So that's like obviously a downside for him. But for the Rockets today, it was also you're also playing into their hand as well. It's their home court. You don't think if Draymond's getting in a scuffle, showing some passion, that whole crowd's not going to get behind him? Like, that just gives energy to everybody for them. But
yeah, no question about
that's the Rockets' identity, though. Like, so I think it's great for them going forward. It's not great. It just kind of backfires sometimes when you're playing at a place like the Warriors.
And I also think when you just don't have the offensive firepower, that it works, that great. I mean, you look at just the different offensive styles with just the 3-point shooting overall in this series. Obviously, Golden State loves to take a lot of threes. They're 17 of 46 from 3 in this game. And the Rockets shot great from 3 in this game, but most of that was Fred VanVleet. If you take away Fred VanVleet, who went 8 for 12 from deep, the Rockets only took 11 threes in the game outside of Fred VanVleet, 3 for 11 from 3, and that's why they dominated the paint so much. But I think you're right. I mean, the physicality, I think, is great, but Rockets just don't have the firepower offensively, like the Warriors do. That play at the end of the first half, or near the end of the first half, with Draymond Green getting tussled up with Tari Eason. What were your thoughts on the ruling of that play? Because Draymond Green already picked up a technical foul along with Steph Curry and Dillon Brooks from a prior incident in the quarter. And I don't know about you, but when that play happened and Draymond, obviously I think inadvertently has his foot on Eason's head. That's kind of just how he landed, but grabs him by the jersey, pulls him down, and then like push all of that. I thought, oh, he has to get thrown out. He has to be getting ejected and getting a second technical, but ends up getting he ends up getting a flagrant foul for the play as well as a technical foul. What were your thoughts on how the officials kind of dealt with that situation? And do you think that if you get a flagrant and a technical, that should be an automatic ejection because they're both two, extra violations?
I think it depends which like flagrant. If it's a flagrant 1, I think you're fine. If it's a flagrant 2, I think it should be handled as like a tech as well. And that's just a second one, you should be out of here. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Draymond Green. I feel like he's always been a dirty player, but I don't want to sound biased, but I also somewhat agree. It looked like he dove on top of him, and he was going for the ball, but he landed right on him. It doesn't look good. And then he stuck his hand like Tari said. Like I would have been pissed as well. Like it's kind of almost a normal, especially with a dude like Draymond Green doing it. We've seen it before for the last 10 years. Like I don't know what else we kind of expect out of it. But honestly, I'm fine with the ref's decision on it. I love like I said, I love the physical defense of Draymond Green. Like, and the way the whole game was so physical and the whole series, let him play. Just give him text, calm him down, tell him no more, just move on.
Yeah, I would probably tend to agree, although I know Rockets fans are probably saying, man, how is he not ejected? Like Jackson Goggin thing, how is he not ejected with that play in the first half? Which I think is fair. I mean, I think it's fair. I mean, it could go either way. I wonder if they would have called it the same way if the game was in Houston, kind of to your point with the home court advantage.
That might be a case. I think definitely the fans might be get in on that as well because they could just rile up Draymond Green more and maybe make him lash out as well. So I think that's definitely a case. Rockets fans definitely have a case. It really depends on the ref crew. Like it can go either way any different day. Today just didn't go that way.
Yeah, exactly. So now Golden State has a 3-1 lead. They'll have a chance to close it out in Game 5 in Houston on Wednesday. Joey, do you think that the Rockets can push this back to San Francisco for Game 6?
This game gave me a lot. This past game gave me a lot of hope for the Rockets that they can do it. But I do think the Warriors will win it when it goes back to San Francisco. That's just such a tough arena to play in. Like even when they were at Oracle and now Chase, like it doesn't matter. Those fans are so diehard and loud. It's so hard to play there. But I truly do believe that the Rockets can take care of business on their home court, give their fans one last hurrah on just an incredible season.
Yeah, and it definitely has been an incredible season for Houston, and I think that this is a team that won't lay down and die, and they will perform and have some effort. Unlike this next game, where the Miami Heat got destroyed by the Cleveland Cavaliers, 138-83. Yes, that is a real score, a 55-point differential. The Cavs, with the win, sweep the Miami Heat. They're headed to the second round. Joey, I don't know how much there really is to dissect about this game. I guess overall, with obviously the Cavs taking care of business in this game and, of course, Game 3 in Miami and obviously the overall sweep, what has impressed you the most about how dominant the Cavs were in this series?
The offense doesn't shock me. I love the fact that a lot of our other guys are killing it. Garland hasn't played the last 2 games. Mitchell did really well this game, but hasn't been scoring crazy over this series. Honestly, pretty much over the season like we usually expect, but it's different when it's the playoffs because shorten the rotation. He's the guy, you go to him a little more. But Strus has been lighting it up. Hunter, Allen, Mobley, everybody's been stepping up. It's just been phenomenal. But the one thing that was very worrisome, especially since the game I went to and saw it live where we lost to the Kings right in the regular season, their defense looked horrendous over the last couple weeks of the regular season. Just late rotations. It looked a little bit of laziness. So I was really hoping they would lock in because you couldn't take this Miami Heat team light. Apparently you could once you got to Miami, but honestly, their defense looked so good, locking everybody up. They locked in like I was really hoping. So it gives me just a lot of hope going forward for the rest of the playoffs, just because that was my real worry. I knew the offense would come and go, but we got enough guys where if someone's having an off night, other people can carry. It's just how it's been.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, going into this series, did not expect it to be a sweep. I had the Cavs in 6 going into this series because I definitely thought the Heat would provide the boost, especially coming off of the 2 play-in tournament wins. I thought that we would have had a rest versus a rust, scenario there, at least in game 1. But the Cavs really took it to the Heat. Some historic numbers from this series. Point differential-wise, the Cavs outscored the Heat by 122 points, which is the most in any series ever. I believe I saw the number that the Cavs made 78 threes in this series, which is the most, ties for the most in a 4-game series sweep, which ties the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers against the Atlanta Hawks in that incredible semifinal series. Just an incredible series from the Cavaliers, and very important that they got this done very quickly, especially with the rough news that we'll get into later with the Pacers-Bucks series, and now the Pacers a chance to close out their series tonight as this comes out. Important for the Cavs to get that rest advantage heading into that second round.
100%. Especially after last year of us going to 7 games with Orlando in that first round, I really wanted us to just get it out of the way. I had the Cavs in 5 because I did think Miami has always just been kind of a thorn in us Clevelanders side ever since LeBron left. So I definitely thought that they would have taken one at home, but not even. I don't know. We've talked a lot about the Cavs. The only thing I will say about the Heat is, thank God this season is over. The Jimmy Butler saga is gone. You don't have to deal with it. But my goodness, y'all have a lot of problems to fix. Your team did not show up. Charles Barkley was saying, y'all quit. You definitely didn't prove him wrong.
Yeah, it didn't look like they really cared about forcing it back to Cleveland for Game 5. I will say, this series, obviously, this Miami Heat team is going to be remembered for the Jimmy Butler saga during the season and how they go on a 10-game losing streak afterwards and then get swept by Cleveland in this dominant fashion. But I definitely think there are some good learning experiences for that team to go through. This is a new era of Heat basketball with younger players leading the way, like Ware in the starting lineup, the rookie Pele Larson getting minutes in the rotation, and guys like Tyler Hero, specifically Tyler Hero, being a number 1 guy and being the number 1 guy on a scouting report in a playoff series against the top defense. I think those are things this Heat team had to come together very quickly. And overall, them becoming the first 10 seed to make the playoffs was impressive. And this is going to be good learning experience for them going forward.
I get all that, but I'm not blaming Eric Spoelstra or Pat Riley in the slightest because, well, maybe Pat Riley for the whole drama in the middle of the season. Yeah. But I'm not blaming Eric Spoelstra at all for this performance because he's a phenomenal coach, has been ever since he's come into the league. He doesn't deserve all of his players seemingly giving up on him. But after the last game where they got blown out, your 2 best players, your 2 leaders, Bam and your 2 all-stars, the faces of your franchise now, Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, both came out and said, we're not going to get swept. We're going to go down swinging. We're not going to have another showing like we did, that we just did. And then they do even worse. Bam Adebayo did have like an okay game, like stat-wise. Tyler Hero, you said. What was his stat line, Miles?
Hold on. Okay, let's preface this before we even get into that.
I'm sorry. Those are your 2 best players. How does...
Well, following game 2, which the Heat actually gave the Cavs some problems. They had it very close in the final minutes of the game, which had me thinking that it would be tough in Miami. Tyler Hero comes out and says, we have the back and forth between Darius Garland and Tyler Hero. And Hero says things like, we have figured out the Cavs defense, and they should be easy to expose. Following those comments, game 3, Hero goes for 13 points on 5 for 13 shooting. And in this elimination game, Tyler Hero goes for 4 points in 30 minutes, 1 for 10 from the field, and the make was the first bucket of the game.
That's just unacceptable. If those are your leaders, Spoelstra, you need to have them in the offseason, have them over to your house, have like a lock-in. Y'all got to figure it out because that's horrendous.
Yeah, so they'll have an interesting offseason going forward. I definitely think that them having a full offseason and training camp to kind of be together and figure things out will help them going into next season. And, they'll always make some sort of adjustments, especially after a result like this in the postseason. I think there will definitely be changes going to Miami. But either way, shout out to Cleveland for a dominant first round. We'll see. Excited to preview that second round series, to see their first probably actual real test in the second round, which we'll get to later.
Can't wait. And I know I was talking a lot of trash about Miami, but I know at the worst they're going to be a play-in team next year again. Like at the worst, like they got a lot of things to figure out, but they're still going to be competitive. They're still probably going to see postseason action. Let's be real. It's like the Steelers. They're just there.
Yeah, they'll find a way. They'll find a way. I will say, as Cavs fans, though, you mentioned the struggles post, LeBron leaving the first time. After the long streak of the Cavs not being able to win a game in Miami, this feels like it makes up for all of that.
It definitely feels incredible. I'm not going to lie.
In the playoffs to take care of business. Anyways, so the Cavs, first team in the East to move on to the second round. In the Western Conference, another number 1 seed swept their way to the second round. OKC defeated Memphis in 4 games. Game 4, close victory, 117-115. They get the job done against the Grizzlies. In Game 3, they had the incredible comeback after trailing by like 29 points. Of course, Ja Morant goes down with injury. Thunder come back to win that game. They have a little scare in Game 4, but either way, they take care of business and move past Memphis. What kind of things stood out to you from the Thunder sweeping the Grizzlies in round 1?
They might, like what we saw with the Cavs, where we definitely stepped on the neck and didn't let up until they were just unconscious. The Thunder didn't do that, especially because Ja Morant didn't play because he did get injured, right? Because they
didn't play in Game 4.
Yeah. Huge shout out to the Grizzlies for making that, not for going down with a fight. That was way to make it a crazy end of the season. So props to you. But for the Thunder, they got the job done. The rest of the series was kind of dominant. Yeah, the Game 3, the Grizzlies and the Thunder had to come back, but realistically, they could have done that the whole time. They just kind of got off to a rough start. That's just how I look at it. If you're coming back by that much, that means you could have done it at any time. You just chose to lock in at this specific moment. But I don't know. Good for the Thunder. Get your rest. Same thing for the Cavs. All that matters is sweeping and getting as much rest as you can before the next round. That's honestly the most important thing.
For sure. The Thunder defense was absolutely fantastic in this series, especially the first 2 games. I mean, we got 2 50-point wins in this first round from the Thunder in Game 1, the Cavs in Game 4. And even when you just look at the Grizzlies' shooting numbers through the series, Jaren Jackson shot 38%, Desmond Bane 32%, Scottie Pippen 38%, Ja Morant 41%. All key guys that never were able to really get it going efficiency-wise throughout the series. And that's what we know this Thunder team can do. They're an incredible defensive team, and they were able to get the job done without Shea having an incredible offensive series. I mean, it speaks to just their incredible depth. And obviously important for them to get the rest, even maybe more so than the Cavaliers, considering their next opponent, the Nuggets and the Clippers, could potentially go the distance in this first round, but we'll get to that series in a little bit as well. But shout out to the Thunder and the Cavs for taking care of business. I think there will be some interesting conversations in the offseason about, is the play-in tournament worth it if the 8 seeds are just going to get swept by the 1 seed anyways?
I hate that conversation. Ever since the play-ins come in, I think it's been great. We literally saw the Heat team, who obviously first 10 seed to make it, or right? They were the 10th seed.
Yeah.
First 10 seed to make it. Obviously, a 10 seed versus the 1 seed. Did we really expect anything less? It's just kind of more motivation, and I guess more postseason money for the Heat. Like, that's kind of just what it comes down to. But a couple of years ago, they went from the play-in and made it to the finals, right? Like, they were the 8th seed and made it all the way to the – like, I think it's a great thing. I personally think it's still so much fun. Gives a little more momentum. It drags out the season a little more. I don't know. I love basketball, so I'm not going to complain about having the season a little stretched out.
Yeah, it obviously makes things a lot more interesting as well. I completely agree. I was just bringing up that point.
Yeah,
I know that's going to be a point that people try to bring with the results of these series, but
this is 1 year. It's 1 year. It's the same thing like for all our football fans, like college football fans, the college football playoff. Like, it was the top seeds that made it. It's like, no, this is just an anomaly. It's great to have more teams compete and try because anything can happen.
Exactly, because I mean, it's just more great basketball, especially at the end of the regular season, makes things so much more interesting.
Oh yes.
Moving on here to the next series, let's talk about the Lakers Timberwolves series. Kind of shocking in my opinion, or probably to all of us at the podcast who picked the Lakers to win the series pretty handily to start. Minnesota takes both games 3 and 4. Game 4 winning 116-113 to take the commanding 3-1 series lead on the 3-seeded Lakers. These were 2 incredible games in Minneapolis where the stars showed out, especially in Game 4, where you just saw there the 4 best players on the court all were fantastic. Luka, LeBron, Edwards, Randall, all played fantastic, but in the end, Minnesota got 2 very clutch wins, at the end of the game. And, they have a 3-1 lead. I don't think any of us saw that coming into the series. I
definitely didn't want to sleep on the Wolves because they made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. I know I mentioned that in our predictions. They beat the Nuggets, who were the champions the year before. Like, they've been there. They've played the high competition. They've been the underdogs. They have played the favorites, and they still come out on top. We really shouldn't be shocked by this, but I am still as shocked because LeBron and Luka, it's hard to get past that. But Ant Edwards and this T-Wolves team, man, they are resilient.
Yeah, Ant Edwards, Julius Randle making plays when they need to down the stretch. Jaden McDaniels stepping up. I think the story of the series for Minnesota is that their role players have come to play, specifically Jaden McDaniels, who has become an offensive piece in their wins. On the series, in 4 games, he's averaging 20 points, 58% from the field, 43% from 3. And the Game 3 win, he had, 33 points on 11 of 13 shooting. And, a lot of those are dribble drives past Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. It's kind of to be expected against this Lakers defense. The Wolves are doing exactly what you need to do against the Lakers defense, especially if they're going to try to double team Anthony Edwards to start. Get it to another guy that's going to have a weaker defender on him and go to work. And it's worked the last few games.
This coaching staff, like you said, has the perfect game plan. You're absolutely right. Like, they know exactly who to attack, know who to get it. And those guys are stepping up. Jaden McDaniels, perfect example. He is stepping up when they need him to. And Randall have been playing great, especially this Game 4. But we've always said you need the other guys. Kind of one of the main reasons why the Lakers are down 3-1 in this series, at least in my opinion. They don't have any other guys. The Lakers are playing 5. We looked at the 5 guys, 35-plus minutes.
Yeah, per game.
Per game, 3 of them, 40-plus minutes. And this game 4, what you told me, every single of that starting lineup, or the 5 guys, Hachimura, everybody, they all played the entire second half.
Yeah.
No wonder you lost. What was the thing you told me in the pre-pod lobby about the fourth?
Shocking stat about this playoff run when you're just obviously looking on paper is that the Lakers are scoring the least amount of points in the fourth quarter. In the playoffs, they're scoring 17 points per fourth quarter, which I think adds up to about 69 points total throughout the 4 games in the fourth quarter, shooting 29% from the field, 22% from 3. And they're also taking the 3rd most amount of threes in the fourth quarter in these playoff games. And assist-wise, they're averaging 4 assists to 4 turnovers, which means it's isolation basketball, not hitting shots down the stretch, most likely because your star guys are tired. We saw that with LeBron, in the final minutes of games 3 and 4, although he's been unbelievable in games 3 and 4. He's been absolutely fantastic. Luka Doncic stepped up in game 4 after he was sick and under the weather in game 3. I know he was vomiting before the game, stepped up, played through game 3, couldn't get the win. But this game 4 was the game for the Lakers, of course. And JJ Redick knew it. That's why he played all his guys the whole second half, because they had to treat this like a game 7, because obviously if you go down 3-1, which they are now, it's obviously very tough to come back from down, 3-1 against a team that's obviously rolling. But I also think that it's one of those things where, we come down to the stretch in the final minute of the game, and, LeBron makes some rough plays turning the ball over. He has that foul, which is hand part of the ball a lot of the time. Yes, but they went to the replay, they went to the review, and they called it a foul. And they got a great look from Austin Reeves at the buzzer that could have tied the game and forced overtime. And obviously, we don't know who would have won in overtime. But regardless, JJ Redick playing those 5 guys the entire second half, if they win the game, then we're talking about it as a very smart coaching move from JJ Redick. But since they lost on the final play, it obviously, it's a disaster, because you basically played. You could say they played their biggest card of the series, playing all your best players an entire half, and you still lose the game, blowing a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, and it becomes very difficult.
It's just so telling to you. Like, I know you were telling me you love playing devil's advocate, because if they do win it, it's a crazy good move, and he's a genius. But the fact of the matter is, you can't find 3 other minutes. 3 to 5 minutes in the third quarter just to give them a bit of a rest. The Nuggets still find time to give Jokic a rest. Yeah, they go down by 10 points when he's out, but as soon as they bring him back, he is like a plus 15 because he gets a little extra rest. He has more energy. He has more. I don't know, man. It just boggles my mind how you think not resting your players and having all your best players out there, regardless if they're just dead and dragging on the floor, you still play them. I get yelled at in 2K when all of them have the Gatorade symbol because they're all out of energy. I want my best players out there. Yeah, but they can't hit a damn shot because they all have 0 energy.
Like Reeves in the fourth quarter of game 4, I think he went 1 for 5 from 3 in the fourth quarter. He missed his first 3 looks, which were all pretty open, made a key one with like 2 minutes to go, and then missed the game tying 3 at the buzzer. But I mean, he's tired. This is a guy that's a knockdown, a very good, 3-point shooter. That's tired. You're asking Luka to make very tough isolation plays. You're asking LeBron to make these tough isolation plays. You're asking even guys like Rui Hachimura and Dorian Finney-Smith to play more minutes than they've been used to in their career, to make key plays. And I think to your point, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, you got to find, even if it's a 2 to 3 minute stretch in the third quarter, you rest Luka for the end of the third, you rest LeBron for the first 2-3 minutes of the fourth, and you just sub your other guys in, and you find your rest that way. But to that point with because this is a Lakers team that I still think has some pretty good depth. I mean, Gabe Vincent is the only other guy that's really played significant minutes. But to this point, at the trade deadline, obviously they get Luka. They attempt to trade for Mark Williams from the Hornets to get a center, and they obviously rescind it because of the physical. But if your plan is to, let's see, what they gave up in the trade. What did they fully give up? They gave up Dalton Connect and Cam Reddish. I think that all they gave up, or that they were going to give up in the trade.
And a couple, I think, picks.
And maybe a first-round pick. I'll go back and try to I'm going to go back and try to find this trade. Yes, this was the trade. Mark Williams to the Lakers for Connect, Reddish, a first, and a pick. Okay. You're not even playing Dalton Connect in this series. He's not even in the rotation. Cam Reddish was waived post-deadline. Why wouldn't you have made the trade if you're not even going to – they're not even really playing Jackson Hayes. He's starting and playing 7 minutes per game, and you're not even playing Connect. I don't understand.
That's my thing. I'm like, you clearly want to go big because you tried to trade for Mark Williams because you want to have a big. Now, Jackson Hayes, yeah, I know he's not great, but he's a serviceable big. He's a serviceable big that you can put in for 10 minutes. 5 minutes in the second, 5 minutes in the third or fourth quarter, just to give somebody a break. Gabe Vincent, put him in the second half for 5 minutes. Take Luka out. When you put Luka back in, take LeBron out, put Dalton Connect, and go like a small ball lineup. It's really not that hard. These guys, it just makes sense. All those fourth quarter numbers. The most threes, yeah, because they're too tired to drive in. Less assists, yeah, nobody's moving because they're too tired. Terrible efficiency, yeah, because they're not using their legs because their legs are tired.
And it's playing into Minnesota's game plan on what they want the Lakers to do, and it's worked out incredibly in this series. And we're harping a lot on this one idea going forward in this series because, I mean, personally to me, although the Wolves are up 3-1. I do not think the series is over just yet, obviously because you have LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Because, I mean, this is how you look at it. If you're down 3-1 as the home court team with the experience, because I think this is different than the Rockets case, Game 5, I mean, the Lakers need to take care of Game 5. If they have the heart, they should take care of business in Game 5, send it back to Minneapolis in Game 6. And then if you can win Game 6, the momentum should shift back into your favor for a home court Game 7. So the Lakers, this is not over for them yet, but I do think that they need to go deeper and just play better and smarter with the basketball, whether it's from their best players as well. I mean, the assist numbers as well is something that I haven't even gotten into yet. Luka Doncic is averaging 5 assists per game. LeBron, 5 assists per game. Reeves, 4 assists per game. That's good for, solid for Reeves. But Luka and LeBron should not be each averaging only 5 assists per game in a series.
They average 7 to 8 plus during every other game in every other series throughout their entire career. There's no way they should be averaging only 5. It's a testament to I think everyone's tired. I don't know. I know I'm harping on it. I'm just to me it's the most common sense thing. I'm like, why they're kind of losing. However, I 100% agree. This series is far from over. You take care of Game 5. You got 2 big game players in LeBron and Luka. They can take over anything. They can win a game by themselves. They've done it in the past. They obviously have a better team than they've both had in the past when they've had to do it. But so hopefully that helps. But you really for the Wolves, you just got to take it day by day. Do not underestimate them. And Lakers, take it game by game. Lock in every single game. Do not look forward. You got to win every game. It's win or go home. So every game is a Game 7.
Yeah, and all they can do
it is now.
Yeah, it is. So Lakers just need to focus on Game 5, as do the Wolves. Wolves need to continue to take care of business, on the road here and try to wrap this thing up, as soon as possible. And that will be on Wednesday. So the Lakers do get an extra day of rest after all those guys played the heavy minutes. But just shout out to the Wolves for getting the job done. I mean, Edwards has been great. Randall, we've been known for talking about him a lot on this podcast for how not, great of a player he is. He's been fantastic for the Wolves in his new role. And then Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels stepping up and then, getting the bit plays from DiVincenzo and Nickeil Alexander-Walker have been very key in this series. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way if the Wolves can close out the Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5. I wonder if the opposite is going to happen. I can't wait to see First Take after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on here, we'll shift back to the Eastern Conference, talking about the Pacers and the Bucks. And man, tough news coming out from Milwaukee early on in Game 4. Damian Lillard tore his Achilles in a heartbreaking scene there in Milwaukee. And the Pacers just kept on rolling, man. They blew out the Bucks 129-103 to take a 3-1 lead in that series, with a chance to close out Milwaukee in Game 5 here tonight. But man, just really tough news, for Damian Lillard.
Prayers and thoughts to Dame. He's battled injuries before. I do feel he can come back. Klay Thompson's done it too. So if I'll be honest, if Klay could do it, I think Dame can do it. But it is just absolutely heartbreaking. I've seen some comments of like Bucks fans like, well, there goes our championship window, because honestly, it might be closed. I personally, I don't. If you don't have Dame, this team is not good enough just with Giannis. We've seen that already. Just especially to get past this Pacers team, because this Pacers team is just also just playing phenomenal as well.
Yeah, with how well everyone is playing up and down the lineup for Indiana, it would just be tough for them. But Damian Lillard, I mean, you just don't know. An Achilles injury at 34 years old, going on 35 in the offseason. It's just difficult. It's very, very unfortunate that this is most likely how this Bucks era could end. I mean, we'll see what they do the rest of this series. They have Game 5 here tonight, but there is a very strong possibility that game on Sunday night was Giannis's final home game in Milwaukee, depending on what things happen in this summer. Because pending, a first-round loss for Milwaukee, this would be their third first-round exit in a row, with Giannis playing the best basketball of his career, still one of the best, a top 3 player in the sport. You wonder if he decides to look for other places to go try to win for himself individually. Just a very difficult way for this Bucks season to potentially go out. We'll see if they have any heart to extend the series tonight.
I feel for Bucks fans, because obviously Giannis is later in his career and he's already brought y'all a championship, but it's very reminiscent of the way the Cavs and LeBron were the first time when he was here, where the team has incredible success and for a long time, but with that you're not, at least anymore, getting over that hump, but you're stuck in that like mid purgatory where you can't get really much better with any draft picks. And the players you already have, you've invested in, so you don't really have a whole lot of money to go get big free agents to push you over you're just kind of in that mid-range, and it just sucks. I feel so bad for that, especially this is the way it might go out with Dame getting hurt like that. Man, I really just feel for them.
Yeah, especially since, this is a Bucks team that, we're saying they're kind of in that mid-purgatory area, but I think in the last 3 years, it's been because of injuries that they haven't really been able to go as deep. When you look at 2023, they're the number 1 seed in the East. Giannis goes down with a back injury or something in Game 1 against Miami. 8th seed Miami takes advantage, upset the Bucks in 5. Last year, Giannis is injured for the whole series. Dame also gets injured. They lose to the Pacers in 6. And this year, obviously, Dame banged up, obviously comes back to play, is just trying to start to get his feet wet. He didn't look great in the games that he played, but Bucks won Game 3, and it was going to be a pivotal Game 4 there, but it happened so early. But it's just really unfortunate that this may be how the era ends. But just shout out to the Pacers for still taking care of business. They have been, aside from the second half of Game 3, they have been one of the more dominant teams in the playoffs. They've looked so good on both ends of the floor against this Bucks team that it probably wouldn't have made a difference even if Dame was healthy. That's just how good the Pacers have played.
That's kind of where I'm leaning to. Like, just looking at how, like you said, kind of dominant a little bit outside of the second half of Game 3. Offensively, we knew how high-powered their other defense was a little iffy, but they've been locking it in. I'm very excited for if they do win against the Cavs. I know divisions don't really matter. But in the past, the Cavs and the Pacers have had some pretty decent battles over the many years. So it would be another kind of good story to see. But yeah,
Yeah,
Pacers are playing fantastic. Huge props to them. I know we've been depressing about the Bucks, but they've been taking care of business. That's all you can ask of them.
Yep, and of course a chance to close it out here tonight in advance to the second round where they would face off against Cleveland and what would be a very high-powered offensive series. That would be a lot of fun to watch. As a Cavs fan, I'm already a little worried about the Pacers because they do definitely present some problems. But that'll be a fun series to preview when we get to that point. But either way, just prayers out to Damian Lillard for a healthy recovery. We'll see what happens with the Bucks in this offseason if it does end here tonight. Moving on, let's go from a little down point to the best series of the playoffs so far, the Denver Nuggets and the LA Clippers. My goodness, Joey. We had another ridiculous finish in Game 4 where after Denver had a 20-point lead, near the start of the fourth quarter, it looked like they were going to bounce back after getting completely waxed in Game 3. LA comes back. They come back from down 20 to take the lead, and it looks like we're going to go to overtime until we get the closest buzzer beater in NBA history from Aaron Gordon put in a putback dunk. Alpha Nikola Jokic miss, and Denver wins Game 4. They tie the series at 2 apiece. They win it 101-99. I mean, Joe, this was just incredible. I mean, I don't even know where to start with this.
There's not much to start. This is playoff basketball. This is why we love, and this is why we were so excited for this year's playoffs. Honestly, going into this playoffs, I knew this first round series was the one to watch. And my gosh, it's exceeding expectations. The fact that Jokic misses that crazy shot, it was an air ball, wasn't it? It didn't even hit anything. And I've seen him make crazy shots like that before. But Aaron Gordon right there, and was the freeze frame right when he dunks it. It's at 0.1. And while he's still on the rim, it hits the red goes. You can't get closer than that.
Yeah, I'm still not even sure if that actually counted. I think there's one replay where he still had a couple fingers on the ball when the lights were on, but it's just so hard to tell. That's how close it was. I mean, that scenario of dunking the ball through the rim at the buzzer, I've never thought of that scenario until Sunday evening when that had happened.
It's always just a layup or a floater, or a tip in, because you try to get your hands off. Aaron Gordon's I'm a dunker. Sorry, this is just my instincts are taking over. But hugely clutch, doesn't get better than that. Clippers, crazy good game. You guys played fantastic to come back like that. My goodness, you guys made it an absolute show. But man, it is hard to win that. When that happens, at some point you just got to chalk it up. Be like, that's just kind of how it goes then, I guess.
And it's just so difficult because of just the magnitude of this game. Denver loses by 34 in Game 3. They score 83 points. Definitely their worst game of the season, which is, you could say it's saying something for the inconsistency that Denver has had this year. And so they go down 2-1. With potentially going down 3-1 if they lose this game to the Clippers. The Clippers, they could be up 3-1 going back to Denver, and then that happens, they get the putback from Zubac with, 9 seconds to go, and then that happens, and it's man, we go from being down 3-1 or up 3-1 with a chance to close it out in the next game to giving home court advantage back to Denver. And now Denver it's a best-of-3 series with Denver having 2 home games. That is one of the most difficult things for LA, especially since they could have won Game 1 as well. They could easily have taken all 4 of these games, but Denver has made the plays in 2 of the games.
I am thoroughly impressed at how Denver is playing and how resilient they are, because going into this playoffs, a week before going into the playoffs, I thought they would have been okay. Then 3 days before the playoffs, I was like, this team has no hope. And now they somehow have retaken the home court advantage after getting absolutely just railed. Like this, huge shout out to Jokic, all those players. I'll be honest, I'm not going to give props to the coaching staff because I don't know who their coach is. I know you said it before, but it doesn't matter. It's not Malone, but it really just comes down to the players at this point.
Yeah.
But huge shout out to the Nuggets for being this resilient. It's a best of 3 series. This is as good as it gets, y'all.
Yeah, it really is crazy when you think this has been one of the more memorable first rounds in recent years. This has been an incredible first round. Yet this is the only series that is tied at 2 games apiece out of all these first round series. So we now have game 5 that will be tonight. That will be the late game. What do you think is going to be the key to either one of these teams pulling ahead in this series here tonight? Start off with the Clippers. What do you think is going to be the key for the Clippers to take game 5? This is a huge game for LA, because if they win this, they'd have a chance at a game 6 at home to clinch.
100%. I think they need their stars to play. I think Harden and Kawhi need to lock it, because it's hard to rely, at least in my opinion, to rely and put a lot of pressure on those role players, especially when you're going into Denver to play and they have that home court. It's a lot to ask. But when you're asking former MVP, former Finals MVP, Kawhi Leonard, and I'll even throw Zubac out there, because he's been a bona fide star for them this year, offensively, but especially defensively. You need those 3 guys to just lay down the work and take over. Zubac, you need to lock down Jokic, and then Kawhi and Harden take over the offense. Make them double you. That's how you get everybody else involved. Get them easy looks, because if you're going to have like Derek Jones, and I'll even say Norman Powell, because sometimes he can be a little inconsistent. If he starts forcing it, he can get down, and that you need those role players to at least be solid on the road. So for the Clippers, I think that's the key. Nuggets, you need your role players. It's almost the opposite. Like Jokic is going to do everything in his power, but Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, I'll even say we need playoff Jamal back.
Michael Porter,
Christian Brown. I know he had a solid game, but efficiency-wise, he could be better. 1 for 7 from 3 is not good. But it's some of those. Russ needs to play a great game. If he can come in and provide a huge spark off the bench, that might be the game alterer right there. I don't know, the game changer.
Yeah, definitely. If he does come in and play, because he did miss game 4 with an injury, so he didn't play. It's crazy. I mean, looking back at game 4, you talk about the minutes played. If you look at these Denver Nuggets minutes played in this starting lineup, I mean, the starting lineup, Michael Porter played 42 minutes, and that was the least amount of minutes for a starter in regulation. Because, I mean, it was that important for Denver to come out and win this game. And I think that's why part of why they blew the lead in the fourth quarter, because similar to the Lakers, you get tired, putting in all that energy to, trying to play your best basketball. But I think that's something that the Clippers can look at, something that the Clippers could keep doing in game 5 is that when they got down by 20 in game 4, Bogdanović was in the game, and he's someone that is obviously, known for his scoring off the bench. He hasn't been the best in this series, and normally it's a downfall for the Clippers when he's in the game and not really scoring, because he's your weak link defensively on a team that has a ton of great defenders. Bogdanović is the weak link. So what Ty Lue did in the fourth quarter was they had this sort of zone defense with James Harden and Bogdanović at the top, and those two were just wreaking havoc and forcing turnovers, leading to Clipper buckets at the other end. So I think the Clippers, when Bogdanović is in the game, they're going to need to play that zone defense and just be pesky up top.
Who would have thought, when saying the name Bogdanović and Harden, lockdown defense? 2 wrongs apparently do make a right.
Yeah, I mean, it made such a huge difference in Game 4. We'll see if that can make a difference in Game 5. Joey, who are you leaning with here now that we are in a best of 3 here? Who do you think comes out on the high side?
It is honestly, I might be just flipping a coin every time you ask for the pickup games in our chat. I might just flip a coin, but honestly, I'm sorry, Riley. I gotta go the Clippers. I trust Ty Lue more than I trust whoever's coaching your team. That man pulled a JJ Redick move and almost cost them the game.
Yeah,
Like,
shout out to head coach David Adelman. That is
David
crazy.
Adelman, Rick Adelman. Sorry, I'm just gonna. That's even worse if I just say I don't know who you are and then I just refer to him as Rick Adelman's son.
Rick Adelman's son. But it really is insane, though. I mean, he's doing a pretty good job for this being his 7th game coaching.
That's obviously my thing. It's not nothing personal against him. This is just his 7th game head coaching.
He doesn't have
hopefully has championship aspirations. It seems like he might be out of his league. No, nothing personal against him.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So I originally had the Clippers in 7, so I have to stick with that, but I definitely do feel good about Denver taking care of business in at least Game 5. I think Denver will win Game 5. Then we'll see what happens in LA going forward. But I hope we just get a fantastic game. I mean, this series has legitimately had everything. We've had little scuffles in this series. That was something at the end of the first half of Game 4. We had that crazy play where everyone's pushing and shoving. We had a buzzer beater. We've had clutch shot making. We've had great defense, great offense. The stars have shined. It's been an incredible series, and I hope it continues that way.
I agree. And this series, it's only 2-2, but this next series we're going to talk about possibly should have been 2-2.
Yeah, well, back to the Eastern Conference for the Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks, man. This was something else. Talk about a defensive-minded game. This is the East version of the Warriors-Rockets series, I would probably say here. Game 4, Pistons lose a heartbreaker, 94-93 to go down 3-1 to the New York Knicks. This game was something else. It was great in the second half when the Pistons made their comeback after the Knicks got off to a very good start in the first half. But just the shot making overall, I mean, you needed with the physicality that was being allowed in this game. You needed your star players to make tough shots, and the one that made 2 tough shots was Karl Anthony Towns in the final 2 minutes. That incredible fall-away shot fading on the baseline, and then the step-back 3 from like 30 feet. It was unbelievable.
That one is the one that got me. That step back, I was just like, okay, they're just going to win. Like, if that's going in, everything's going right. But no, what a fantastic game. Cade Cunningham is absolutely incredible. Triple-double in that game. He might be one of the faces of the NBA in the coming years, at least in the East, because this Pistons team, it might be going somewhere in the future. No, they're down 3-1, but might be. I think it was down to that controversial call, possibly.
Yeah, so in the final possession of the game, Pistons have the ball. They're down by 1. Cade Cunningham misses a pull-up mid-range shot, which was a great look, by the way. Should have knocked that one down, but misses the shot. Ball gets loosed. It gets deflected to Tim Hardaway Jr. in the corner, who fakes and gets hit by Josh Hart on a corner 3. And there was a no call, and the Knicks obviously go on to win the game. But after the game, the official post-game says there was more than marginal contact on the play, and they should have called a foul. So obviously Pistons fans, rightfully so, definitely think that they got a little robbed on that one. Obviously, I mean, you would have had 3 free throws in the final second to give yourself the lead.
Yeah, it's nothing more than you did get robbed. You played a great game. You did almost pretty. It's really nothing else. It just comes down to crappy refs and stuff like that sometimes, and a crappy call. I know there's a lot of people really, really mad that the refs came out and said, I made a mistake. But let me tell you, that is the best thing ever. Because the amount of accountability that referees in any sport that they just don't have, that to see that, like, they might not get punished for it, but the fact that they're at least saying it, it's at least a step in the right direction. And it's not going to do anything for you now other than maybe they do look, maybe if this happens again with the same ref crew, then change can happen. But I think it's still a good thing that they have the 2-minute report and they come out and say, hey, we should have done this. But Pistons, man, you really got robbed.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely could say that. I mean, after the game, I mean, it's obviously a tough way to finish, but I mean, when you look at just what happened down the stretch, of course, Cade Cunningham has a terrific game, but Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns just made the plays down the stretch to put them in that position. I mean, Towns makes the 2 ridiculous shots at the end. Well, let's not forget, Jalen Brunson goes down in the third quarter with an ankle injury, looked to be pretty serious, comes back and goes supernova in the fourth quarter, shot after shot after shot with great defense. It didn't matter. Jalen Brunson was just on one after that.
Yeah, when he got hurt, I was like, oh, no. This might be the thing that happened last year with the Knicks and the Pacers. I'm like, this does not bode well. Then he came back in. Like you said, just making everything unstoppable. It's hard to beat the Knicks when Jalen Brunson just doesn't miss. And, yeah, Cat just making insane shot after insane shot down the stretch.
Yeah. I will say, though, for the results of this game, I know a lot of people, I mean, like yourself included, say, came down to the final, possession of the game with the missed call. I would say this is obviously that was an enormous missed call, but I would say that the Pistons lost this game in the first quarter, lost this in the first half, because they came out nervous again, just like in game 3, which they also lost in Detroit. They came out nervous. They came out very rushed, and they looked awful, honestly, to start the game. In the first quarter, they had 6 turnovers, shot 37% from the field. In the first half, they had 6 assists to 10 turnovers, all the turnovers unforced errors, and they shot 2 for 16 from 3. To me, you can say all that you want about what happened in the fourth quarter, but this is kind of the opposite of what's happened with the Lakers in game 4 to me. You can lose a game like the Lakers did in the fourth quarter. Detroit lost the game in the first quarter. They wouldn't have been in that position if they came out like they did to start the third quarter. Instead, they looked awful on the offensive end, and they had to play from behind, and it had to be a dogfight at the end. If they had came out, and at least took care of the basketball, then it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore that. And it's super upsetting because that's in front of your home crowd. Detroit's been waiting for how long to get a home playoff win now? Since 2008?
2008, yep.
Is their last time they've won a playoff home game. I really hope they win in New York so they can have a chance again to win in game 6. But that is severely disappointing. Because I have been working a lot recently, so I haven't been able to see a lot of the first half, but that is upsetting to hear that they just come out sluggish, nervous. This is your home crowd.
Which makes sense.
It makes sense because you're a young team, but JB's been there before. You got vets, Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway. You've got Isaiah Stewart. Like, some of these guys have played playoff. No, not Isaiah Stewart. I don't think.
Well, not Beef Stew, but I mean,
No,
to your point, it's kind of what we talked about in the previous podcast about how the Pistons played in game 1. Their veterans like Harris, Hardaway, and Beasley played very, very well. It is still the same, kind of rough play to start games from the younger guys. Outside of Cade, you have Jalen Duren, who's obviously been great on the boards, but just not having the overall impact there. You have Ron Holland, who can't really play when he comes in. Asar Thompson getting into foul trouble. Of course, he's got Jalen Brunson to defend, so it's very not the easiest assignment for your first playoff series. But either way, I mean, well, this is a series that I think first the Pistons would have loved to have Jaden Ivey in. Of course, got injured midway through the season. But regardless of what happens, I mean, obviously an incredible season for Detroit, and this is definitely going to be a great learning experience going forward. I personally think the Knicks will take care of business and close it out in 5. But regardless, a tough series for the Pistons. They have not gotten, these have been 4 tough physical games. The Knicks have not. The Knicks have had to earn their way to this 3-1 lead, basically. It has not been easy.
110%. The Pistons should be proud. It's kind of the same thing when the Cavs made the playoffs the first time with JB. We're a young team. Just get us the playoff experience. We have a lot to learn, and they played like it, but this is huge experience. Like maybe if they do go down in game 5 next year, that's when you're getting that playoff home win, because hopefully all of those young guys will get Jaden Ivey back. Cade Cunningham will play back. Like everybody will just hopefully at least. One can hope, because this Pistons team is one to look out for in the future, I think.
Yeah, it's been fun to see the progression this year, after all the years of just not great basketball in Detroit. Final series, the Orlando Magic and Boston Celtics. The Celtics have a 3-1 lead after taking game 4, 107-98. Jason Tatum enormous in game 4 in the clutch. I mean, it's kind of been 4 of the same type of games besides game 3 where the Magic, got the victory. It's kind of been the same situation where the Magic are playing very solid defensively against the Celtics team, about as well as you can do. Magic just do not have the offensive firepower to hang with the Celtics. And I mean, that's the reason why the Celtics have this 3-1 lead.
That's what I'm saying. If you pull up those stats again from at least that previous game, you're looking at Jason Tatum, who went absolutely crazy, but he shot 3 for 10 from deep. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's not shooting 30% all the time. You're playing great defense. You're holding the Celtics team who won the championship last year to 107 points. You literally just need some offense. And I'll be honest, I think a big issue is not having Jalen Suggs, because who they starting? Kojo still?
Yep, Corey Joseph, and Caldwell Pope has also not been able to shoot well either.
He hasn't been playing well all year, to be honest. They got him as a 3-point shooter, and he just hasn't been it.
Yeah, I mean, low-key, that's underratedly been one of the flop additions of the year. Not to the Magic's fault. KCP's just missing open shots.
Yeah. It was theoretically a great move, exactly what they needed, because with Franz and Paolo, they can dominate the inside and out. They can shoot a little bit outside, but particularly when they drive inside, having someone to kick out and consistently hit a 3 would be great. So theoretically, it was going to work out.
And I honestly think that's all the Magic will need going forward. I mean, even looking ahead to what they can do to get better, I legit think, Franz Wagner needs to not get rid of the hitch in his jump shot. He's struggling even worse from 3 than he did, last season. That's been very difficult. But you take that away, he's been a great finisher against this Boston defense. Banchero has been fantastic, as well. They are combining to average 58 points per game. Magic as a whole are averaging 95 as a team. You're getting 58 from your top players and 37 from the rest of the guys combined. That's just not really going to get it done there offensively. But the way that the Magic has been defending against the Celtics, especially the 3-point line, has been incredibly impressive. I think they showed it during the broadcast that the 4 lowest amount of 3-pointers made for the Celtics, like the 4 worst 3-point shooting games, have all been against Orlando. And most of them have been in losses. And you just take a look at the numbers. Celtics shot 48 threes per game in the regular season, which is, incredible, nearly 50 a game. In this series, they're only getting up 33 attempts per game, which is, very, very good for this Magic defense. Again, they just do not have the offensive supporting guys to help out Banchero and Franz Wagner.
That's what we said about last year when they should have beaten our Cavs team last year. They just couldn't do it on the offensive end. This year, it's the same story. I hope they get it fixed soon. I hope they get a couple guys, because the Celtics team, they're not going to slow down. They're like, even though you're holding them great, it's like clearly they're up 3-1 because you can't stop them forever. They're gonna hit those shots eventually, and if you can't, you're gonna pay.
And that's what happened in the fourth quarter. Tatum took over down the stretch, and the Magic, Celtics forced the ball out of Banchero and Wagner's, or out of Banchero's hands, and forced Wagner to take a three, force other guys, to take shots, and that plays right into their hands as well. But overall, there's a look at every single first round series. Before we get out of here, we'll take a quick look at the games going on here tonight. We've got 4 Game 5s tonight. First on NBA TV, it's Game 5 of the Bucks and the Pacers, a 6 p.m. start, very early, with the Pacers looking to close out Milwaukee in 5. Then at 7:30, it's Game 5 of the Knicks-Pistons series on TNT. The Knicks look to close out that series. 8:30 on NBA TV, Magic-Celtics Game 5 with Boston up 3-1. And then at 10 p.m. on TNT, that is Game 5 of the Clippers-Nuggets series with the series tied at 2 games apiece. That is the big game to watch here. We'll see which team can come out of there. And, we'll see. We could potentially have, 3 Eastern Conference. Yeah, you know what? We could potentially have both Eastern Conference semifinals ready, by tonight. So definitely excited to see if they can finish the job.
That would be absolutely crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Joe, you have anything else before we get out of here? No, it's been a long one.
I know it's been a long one. Just want to offer my huge thoughts and prayers to Kevin Love and his whole family. The crazy news of his father passing, I feel so bad. I saw the clip of Tristan embracing him and hugging him early, and they were just sobbing. Donovan Mitchell in his post-game interview mentioned the thoughts and prayers. Kevin Love, you mean so much to us in Cleveland. Like, we've always been rooting for you. We always wish the best, and this is just heartbreaking. We all thoughts and prayers for you, man.
Absolutely, always going to have love for Kevin Love and love and respect for all that he's done. Thank you guys so much for watching the podcast. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA postseason content. Make sure you stay tuned for all of our postseason content, along with the Run in the Paint recaps that we'll have for all these games, coming up here. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.